Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Only Stupid Answers. This is the show where we answer your questions about movies, TV shows, comic books, fall TV schedules, and so much more. I'm your host, DJ Wooldridge. With me, as always, is Roxy Stryer. Hey, Roxy.
What's up, DJ?
Oh, my goodness, everybody get excited. Roxy made this recommendation for the show today. We're going to be looking ahead at the 2024 schedule for TV shows, what you should be looking out for, what you should be excited about this week on Only Stupid Answers. So, but before we do that, before we get into our main topic for today, we are going to do a little bit of business up top. As always, if you want to watch this live, if you want to check out episodes like this early, ad-free, all that jazz, Patreon exclusive shows like Spider-Verse and what we're into, you can do that over at patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. If you're listening on iTunes, you want to give us a 5-star review, we'd appreciate it. Also, if you watch this on YouTube or you listen to this on Spotify, every week I'm going to start pulling comments. Not only can you do comments on YouTube, you can do it over at Spotify as well. Leave us a comment and we will comment on your comments. This last week's episode was on the House of the Dragon finale. And we talked about possibly, because when we recorded, we kind of missed the Comic-Con announcements. And Debaka 3618 said, please do a full episode on the Marvel Comic-Con announcement. And I can tell you, we're gonna. I got that all in the chamber. Coming soon. Stay tuned for that. And also, I think this is a good time to mention, we were recording this Friday morning. D23, I think, is happening this weekend. So if you're like, why are they not talking about that? That's why. The cool stuff hasn't happened yet. I think it's going to be weird because we're going to be talking about trailers and stuff. I think we're getting a Star Wars Skeleton Crew trailer the evening that we're recording this. So we're not going to be breaking it down, even though you're like, it happened over the weekend.
They did do an Alien Romulus screening, it seems like, though, and it does seem like the people loved it. So
good.
That's out of D23. There you go. Your D23 news.
D23 news. People are liking Alien Romulus. I'm hearing not great things about Borderlands. And also, my wife is going to go see It Ends With Us with her friends just now. So I'll report back later and see how she thought about that movie.
My girlfriends all texted me. They're like, did you read the book? And I was like, I don't read.
Yeah.
But I will see the movie.
My wife and her friends did read the book, so they're gonna go see it, and I'm excited to hear them report back because I got the full rundown of the book, which everybody will be surprised to learn didn't sound like my cup of tea.
I
but
didn't get the rundown. Does it sound like my cup of tea?
If you're a lover of love and a shipper of ships, then yes.
Am I, DJ?
Yes, you are. I will say they've kind of met, because Blake Lively's in this movie, they've kind of intersected some of the advertising for this movie in Deadpool and Wolverine, where Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are getting in on that. And I do think that is fun and funny. So good for them. I hope it all works out for everybody. Another comment, and this is in response to, we were kind of talking, Roxy, you were kind of mentioning how that some of the response to Rhaenyra had become mixed as she brought in these dragon riders. This is in response to that. Mel loves movies and books, says Ryan Condal, the showrunner, called her a cult leader. Now, I know what she's referencing, or they're referencing. I know what they're referencing. In one of the post-episode things, there's that scene where Rhaenyra is basically giving everybody the rundown, like, by the way, this is important. We need dragon riders, but also you're probably going to die. That whole rundown. And in the behind the scenes, which I know you watch, Roxy, they talked about how, like, they didn't describe her as a cult leader. They were using that as like a point of reference for her getting all these, like, I think specifically the actor brought it up of like doing it around these people to evoke the vibe of a cult leader. But I don't think that's how they're positioning Rhaenyra. But I do think it makes sense in that to get a bunch of people to die for you, you need a certain cult of personality. And you and I can feel about that the way we feel about that. But you know what I mean? That's...
Wait, what is the difference between like an army general and a cult leader then?
I don't think there. I mean, I think there's a lot of Venn diagram there. I think the difference would be a certain amount of. I think you could split hairs on that. I think the point that was brought up is that was when the actor was making the choices about how to do this. That was the point of reference, not a general. But I don't think that, again, I don't think that is them saying Rhaenyra is like a cult leader. That was just, you're an actor, you know, like this is what I'm pulling from to get in the mindset. But I do think there is overlap there. Like if you're trying to convince a bunch of people to die for the thing you want to do, what is that other than a cult of personality? You know what I mean?
And it's not just die for the thing you want to do; it's die to save a lot of lives. Like
Theoretically, yeah.
theoretically.
Yeah.
Well, because you look at they're at war, and you look at this as like one of now they're trying to avoid it based on the finale. But you look at this as one of the like quote unquote necessary wars, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like I guess that well, I don't know actually. When you look at it on paper, it is about like who's the king. It's not about like saving people that are getting persecuted. So I don't know.
To Game of Thrones credit, both that and House of the Dragon, I think the show is very aware of that. I feel like the show is very like, is this pointless? I feel like that's the subtext of all this stuff is like, wait, is this pointless?
Yeah, and it's like but she would maybe it is really about saving lives though, because clearly both Aemon and Aegon are not fit to rule and will kill a lot of people.
Yeah. Yep. So it's just an interesting, but I do think it is interesting the points of reference that people pull, and I do think there is overlap as you touched on, Roxy, between cult leader and ruler and general. Like you're trying to motivate. It's beyond motivating. You're trying to get people to commit their lives to your cause. Like that's dicey. That's a dicey proposition.
Yeah, I guess you and I are speaking differently because I wouldn't call this necessarily her cause, a cause.
I would say a cause, but I mean it is literally it's trying to get her on the throne. It's literally her cause.
Yeah,
so you can present it as. And I do not disagree with you. Of the options we have been presented, I would pick her. I'm just saying it is like, it's like, hey, I should be in charge. It's like, well, then there's not no ego in that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's a difficult one. A difficult one.
Well, that is, so again, leave comments on this episode. We will bring them up in the next episode. Also, if you feel so inclined, you can go check out my personal channel, DJ Talks Trash. I just did a one-on-one discussion with Trisha Hirschberger from SourceFed, so you can check that out. Now,
how'd that go?
It went really well. It was great. It was good. I'm trying to do, it's my personal channel, so I'm trying to be a little bit more personal in it. And I've got a few guests lined up, and it's trying to, ask questions that interest me. So obviously with Trisha, she's a parent and she's in this digital creator space. So I talked a little bit about that with her and what's that like, and trying like to take notes. And I hope this stuff interests other people. We'll see.
It would.
We're trying
in that position.
Trying new stuff, and when you try new stuff, sometimes there's hits and sometimes there's misses. But if you missed Trisha from SourceFed and you want to hear some of her thoughts on what she's been doing since then, or about work-life balance and stuff like that, go check that out. Alrighty. Let's do a little bit of news. I don't know about you, Roxy. Felt like a little bit of a post Comic-Con pre D23. Felt like a lighter news week. So what I pulled was something I don't think I would normally pull, but we are getting a Saturday Night Live movie from Jason Reitman, and it's about the first night of SNL's opening, and we got a trailer and we got some footage, and I gotta say, this movie does not look good to me. This is not.
Oh, that's interesting. I was with Christian when the image dropped, or when I saw the image, and he was like, "Don't they look identical?" And
I've heard a lot of this. I've heard a lot of that same sentiment.
I was like, I don't feel that way.
And to that sentiment, I agree with Roxy. I don't necessarily need them to. There are other actors. I don't need them. I just don't. I need them to look exactly the same. You're like, okay, I sort of get it.
Yeah, I didn't think it was horribly like, oh my God, these actors look nothing like them. Like clearly the costume design, like you get what they're doing, you know what they're going for, but they did pick really famous actors.
Mm-hmm.
Like really I'm not saying like famous actors like Dan Aykroyd. I'm saying famous actors like the actors in this movie.
Yeah.
So it's a little hard to get lost in another famous actor when you're a really famous actor.
Yeah.
And so everybody that I looked at like Dylan O'Brien, you can say he looked but he looked like Dylan O'Brien to me.
Yeah.
You know, I looked at him, I was like, oh, that's Dylan O'Brien in an outfit.
Doing cosplaying. But Hollywood loves this shit. Getting famous actors to cosplay as other famous people. Ooh. We love to hand out Oscars for this stuff. Bohemian Rhapsody. Ooh, we love it.
But I love SNL. And I have a feeling I'm going to love this movie. I actually liked the trailer better than just the still images. But it seems like the premise of the movie is just a bottle or a bottle episode of TV where we're just in one place for the whole time, right? Like is this the way?
Yeah, it's supposed to be. And I actually do like the setup. Instead of like a greatest hits, like here's the first year of SNL, just the opening night. I think that's a good instinct, especially not that this is specifically a biopic, but it's that same umbrella. I feel like I think that's a good instinct. Stick to one specific moment. That's good. What's a harder sell for me is anytime we do these things, it's obviously always through the lens of the future. So like there's a lot of, don't you get it? This is the opening night of a show that's going to run for 50 plus years. And it's like, fucking calm down. I guarantee you nobody had a speech about how fucking important this would be to the future of TV. Like everybody was just doing a job. You know what I mean? And I would love a version of it.
It was innovative. Like, I think for a lot of different things that are like this, like the first time sports are televised or the first time you're doing a live in a Saturday show, I would think you would have an inkling that this is either going to be huge or a massive failure.
I don't know that I get your point, but I do think there's always this sense of it's like weighted with the history of it. And I would love a version of this where we follow like the opening night of a brand new show where they're like, this is going to be the most important thing ever, but it's a show that nobody's heard about. Because that happens too, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but exactly. I think almost every set that I've ever been on thinks that it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
So we do get speeches like that. What you never hear when you're on a set is like, let's throw spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks, maybe.
Yeah.
That's not what you hear. So I think it's realistic that there's people like really hyping this. But I hear what you're saying also because we know what it turned into and they don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like that they're really honing in on that one day, one night, because then it will make it accessible for everybody, which is important when you do a movie like this. And B, we don't have to be having arguments afterwards like, but they didn't include and they didn't include because everybody has a different favorite era, cast, member, sketch, everything. So this is I'm excited about this. I think it's really difficult when you have J.K. Simmons, Dylan O'Brien, Willem Dafoe, Finn Wolfhard, Rachel Sennett, Matthew Rhys, Lamorne Morris, like Nicholas Braun. These are people that we see on our screens every day.
Yeah. I will say Nicholas Braun is Jim Henson. I was like, all right, you got me on that one. You did pretty good at that one.
A lot of it I think is good casting. It's just more than that. I'm like, this is difficult. You guys are very, very famous.
Yeah.
It's like why you kind of, when there's something like an Elvis movie or a Marilyn Monroe movie, it's really difficult then too to cast somebody that is a known, like, because you know them elsewhere. Where like why was it a huge deal that Ana de Armas was cast as Marilyn Monroe? Because we all knew about her accent. So going in, everybody was like, "I'm listening.
Yeah,
you sound like her." Like it's difficult when you are known as who you are playing somebody else.
Blonde. That was a divisive movie. That was a really divisive movie. It has merits. I would never watch it again. But it was one of those like, I see what you're doing.
I did not need to see alien baby abortion over and over and over again.
Hey, the different strokes for different folks.
I went to the premiere for that.
The premiere? Wow.
It was one of the strangest premieres ever because you could feel the audience not knowing if this is going to be good. Poorly. So there was a lot of weird reactions.
It's a challenging. Conceptually, I would take a challenging biopic like that over something like Elvis personally, but I do understand. I do. Because again, I wouldn't watch it again. It's not like a fun watch. But this movie, Saturday Night, comes out October 11th. Also, just if you haven't seen Walk Hard, Dewey Cox story, something that really does this isn't a music biopic. It just feels like one to me. And if you want an amazing takedown of music biopics, Walk Hard, a Dewey Cox story, highly recommend. All righty. Where are we at on our run? Oh, we're doing the main part now, gang. Now we are getting into... Okay, so I cheated a little bit. It was like, Roxy was like, the fall TV schedule. I did everything coming up next, which is also, we're not out of summer yet. So it's like, hey, the rest of the year, what are the things you all should be excited about the rest of the year going into TV? I did, and I thought a good jumping off point for this would be before House of the Dragon, which we watched last week. Max has a new trailer for some of their upcoming shows, and we love our HBOs in this house.
Yes.
So I thought that might be a good jumping off point. And oh my goodness, what do we have? A little snippet of that trailer for you. Here you go, gang.
We gotta take whatever we decide is ours. Because no one's gonna give it to us.
This is what you're waiting.
We're not without a fight.
So there you go. That was a little snippet from the Max trailer that dropped last week. And of course, we're going to focus on the stuff that we normally talk about on the show. There was a bunch of different shows that might be great, but a little bit of the highlights. Of course, the big one being Last of Us Season 2. We got a little snippet of there, which is coming out in 2025. So I'm already, right off the bat, I'm already blowing the premise. We're already in 2025.
I know. It's so, but this did just air, and this is why it's so difficult, DJ. I loved The Last of Us. I loved this show. This is the problem with this years between thing. I don't want to see a trailer for a TV show that's not even dropping this year.
Yeah.
Like, that's so far away.
Yeah.
We have so many other shows until then. The way the trailers for movies work, I get it. They usually have 3 trailers and we do it, like 8 months out. We casually drop them. It's not how TV is supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's just so far away for me to get excited, even though I think it looks cool. And even though I am anticipating this, there's 50 other shows I'm going to watch between, not even, DJ, that's an under exaggeration. There's 100 other shows I'm going to watch between now and then.
Do you think, because not just that, there's going to be, and part of this might be because of the strikes, but there's going to be 2 years in between season 1 and season 2. We already know for House of the Dragon, there's going to be, do we know this? I thought they said this. There's probably going to be 2 years between House of the Dragon. There's going to be, and I think that's one of the things we also get in this trailer is Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So I think they're kind of doing what The Boys has been doing, where it's like, this year you're getting The Boys season 3. Next year you're getting Gen V. The year after that, Boys season 4. I feel like we're doing the same thing with Game of Thrones stuff. With multiple years in between shows, do you think this is part of the bleed between the barriers between movies and TV kind of breaking down?
Well, movies have always done this, but what do you mean by the barriers between movie and TV breaking down?
Now we're treating TV shows in a similar way that we treated movies, where there's multiple years in between seasons.
Right. Yeah, movies have always done this.
Yeah.
TV shows, I mean, like if primetime example would be Severance was on in 2022. Severance is not on our list today because Severance isn't coming out until January of 2025. That is 3 years. That is like you would never, ever have thought growing up. Your favorite show is going to come out once every 3 years. It's just not how we were raised when we're raised on television. And I know TV is getting more movie-like with the size of their production. Like this week on The Big Thing, I interviewed Nestor Carbonell, who is in Shogun, our fave. Yeah. We're obsessed with.
He's fantastic in it. Yeah,
he's amazing. And when we were talking to him about Shogun, one of the things that like blew my mind that he said was that when he was on set, he goes to get COVID tested, and twice a week, every person on set has to get tested. And so your tests have numbers, like whatever. And he said, which number am I today? And they said something like 1,526. And this is the guy who's been doing TV for decades.
Yep.
And so he was like, I mean, the scope of that there's 1,500 people working on Shogun.
Yeah.
So that's in itself, like, we see why things take longer. That's a movie.
Yeah.
If there's 1,500 people on your set, that's a movie set. That's not a TV set. I mean, it is, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, because there's more manpower, you would think even the biggest of shows, even the Game of Thrones of the world, that they'd be able to pop one out a year.
Yeah. Yeah, one, it's funny too, and I've heard people lament this more online, and I don't know if that's going to affect anything, but my wife and I have been, I grew up watching Star Trek The Next Generation. My wife had never seen it, so we're going through, and we're not watching every single one, because that's the downside of doing 24 episode seasons. I was like, I don't need to watch all these. But there'll be ones where it's literally just like, here's a problem, and this problem just exists so we can pair off different characters that don't normally interact. That's the episode. And because you love the characters, you're like, this is great, because I never get to see Worf deliver a baby or the Doctor hang out with Geordi or any of that stuff. And it's like, you don't have the space to do that. Something we didn't talk about last week, because this is how it's affected the way, at least for me, the way we've watched stuff. When they're like House of the Dragon episodes, I'm like, that's most TV now. Not realizing that they cut 2 episodes. It was supposed to be 10.
Yeah.
And then like, I guess like a month before they go into production, they cut 2 episodes. And it's like, well, no wonder the finale felt that way then, because they couldn't do rewrites because of the writer's strike. So it's like, I guess this is just the end of our season now.
Yeah, knowing that they'll get another season.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is the episode count. It's everything. I think it is partially the writer's strike, of course, but we previously have had writer's strikes. And what did they do during those writer's strikes? They didn't take 4 years to put out a season of a show.
Yeah.
They did exactly what you just talked about. Like when there was writer's strikes going on and we had 24 episodes of a show, then those seasons were 16 episodes.
Yeah.
Because they were like, we are on strike, so we're not writing all that. It's how it's going to be.
Yeah.
But now I think it's not just a strike. It was the pandemic and then the strike, and people are playing catch up. And now audiences are trained to be like, oh, it's coming out every other year. No problem. And I'm not there yet. I'm like, that's a problem for me.
Well, and not just that, when you talk about episode counts, with the binge model and everything, it became more, and this of course even goes back to HBO when you're talking about stuff like Sopranos and stuff like that, shorter seasons, 13 episode seasons. And then I remember when Daredevil dropped, the Marvel Netflix shows, and they're like, actually, for what the story you're telling, 13 episodes is too long, because you're just trying to do the one thing. And so now they're kind of dragging. And that's how we get to, it's all of it. Shorter episode counts. You have to wait multiple years. And that's fine. Like, I'm okay with that for a Game of Thrones or even a Shogun because of the scope of it. You're like, yeah, give your people, I don't know that this is what's happening, but give your CG team time. You know what I mean? Don't, have them.
It just doesn't feel like that is what's happening, DJ, because every time we hear from the team, they're like, I'm under the gun, and it's like, what? Why? Like,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But point is, I'm open with something like that, but I don't necessarily, and maybe it's just that you and I aren't watching that stuff, because something that's not on my list when I was going through there is the 5 different FBI shows or the 5 different Chicago shows, which do probably have 24 episode seasons and all that stuff. I'm just not watching that.
I watch those. Thank goodness I watch Grey's Anatomy, which tried and true every year is going to be at my door. Same thing with an Abbott Elementary, though, which is on your list. There are certain things that we are going to watch. But like, I also think a huge reason why this is happening is because they don't pay people enough anymore to tie them down. So like, for example, the Euphoria show and actors. Yeah. I heard something Eric Dane today said, like, they're giving us more reins than ever for this newest season. And it's like, this newest season that may or may not ever happen, that took 15 years to do, because you guys now created such megastars, because TV does that. Not to just, Coleman Domingo, Zendaya, Sydney Sweeney, I could keep
Hunter
going.
Schafer. Cuckoo just came out this week, I think, with Hunter Schafer. So
Jacob Elordi. It's like, no shit, those people aren't able to do a show every year now unless you pay them an arm and a leg and say, we're shooting once a year. You're a regular. This is your schedule. Which they didn't, because they weren't prepared for it. It's like, of course, now you're struggling. You're on your heels, because when are you going to fit everybody's schedule? These are movie stars.
Yeah. Well, We'll see, gang. We will see. So we'll jump over a little bit. Like I said, we're getting Night of the Seven Kingdoms in 2025. We've talked a little bit about The Penguin, which we're getting later this year. I have that on my rundown. 2025, we also saw a bit from White Lotus, which, just pointing out from that little clip I played you, Natasha Rothwell is returning from the first season. She's great. That's great. I'm excited for that. We also get...
think that White Lotus is going to be as big without Jennifer Coolidge?
Good question. Yes. As big. Yes, I think so. Because Natasha Rothwell's great. It's not, but because Jennifer Coolidge was the breakout. That was a big choice. I will also say I liked season 2. I didn't like it as much as season 1. So we'll see. Because I'm wondering, they got really into like, I was going to call it a murder cult. That's not what it was. But you know what I mean? Like the conspiracy of it. I was like, what are we doing with the show? Where's it going now?
Do you think there's any way that Jennifer Coolidge is alive?
No. No, do you? I don't think it's that type of show. Do you?
No body.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Oh my goodness. Also worth mentioning is Walton Goggins is in that season 2, so I'm excited for that. We got a tease of the Dune series, which I'm going to be diving into more because that is coming out this year. And also in 2025, Welcome to Derry, which Bill Skarsgård is returning as Pennywise. That's another thing with the Dune show and the It show. Movies or TV shows are we're crossing over between the two more, which is ambitious. It is ambitious. I don't know that Marvel and Star Wars have proved that works out, but so I made a list, Roxy, of when things come out, but I thought it might be more interesting if we bundle these together in types of shows, just so we can kind of
have a bone to pick with one of your bundles.
Okay, thank you. We'll I'm assuming it's not my next bundle, which is genre TV.
No.
Okay.
I love your bundles, but I have a bone to pick with the titling of one of your bundles.
Okay, I think I know which one. So, and because I thought this might be a good gauge to see where kind of TV shows are at, and I wanted to start with genre shows because obviously that's our bread and butter. We're getting a lot of big time genre shows this year, and because I was going to start with something different, but because we're coming off of the Max stuff in November, I don't think we have a specific date yet. In November, we are getting Dune Prophecy. So I'm going to play the trailer for that.
You wish to serve the great houses and shape the flow of power. You must first exert power over yourself.
The more influence our sisterhood gains, the more enemies we make.
Okay, that's Dune Prophecy coming out in November. Roxy, how are you feeling about this new Dune show?
I mean, it looks like a movie. It looks like massive. I'm confused on what this show is. I'm not well versed in Dune to know enough. When are we compared to our movies? Where are we compared to our movies?
I don't know the exact timeline. I looked this up. I don't know the exact timeline, but this is a prequel. So I'm going to assume 100 plus, maybe considering Dune timelines, could be like 1,000 years prior to the movies.
So we're not going to see anything that we're seeing in the movies, but it is going to give us a little understanding of how we got there.
Yes, that is my understanding. You know, Dune, it is called Dune Prophecy, and we do get visions in Dune. So theoretically, if they wanted to pony up for one of those cast members, we could get like a vision of something from the future. But as far as I understand, this is a prequel. So
Mike says 10,000 years before Dune.
Yeah, I knew with Dune timelines, I knew it was going to be something insane.
Yeah, that's a long time. I love Dune 1 and I love Dune 2. I loved Dune 1 even more than I loved Dune 2. Mm-hmm. So going backwards seems to work for me. I think that this show will probably be great. I do kind of wish that they wouldn't be doing these at the same time, Duning these at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like I kind of wish we could get our movies. Yeah. And then we could go back. Just because now I feel like you have to watch this in order to understand certain things. Sometimes that gets a little messy because when there's different teams working on stuff, like there's not all it's not exactly obviously what happened with Star Wars, but like when you don't have the same teams working on the same exact things, sometimes there's stuff that doesn't make sense. Yeah. And it's like, wait a second, but that character said this thing and then this thing. And then audience is like, wah, wah, wah. So I'm sure there's, of course, people checking continuity. It's not just like a free-for-all, but I do wonder, even though 10,000 years ago, how that will affect our viewing experience for future Dunes and how much communication they're in.
Yeah, and I wonder how much leverage that gets them, because the one thing I picked up from this trailer is people don't seem to be talking like constipated robots, which is a pretty big tonal shift from the Dune movies. Like, people are expressing emotions and feelings. We get a sex scene, and it's like, oh, passion. Oh my God. So I don't. I think, especially since they're pulling from the books, continuity is obviously a concern. But I wonder how much tonally people might push back on it, that it doesn't feel the same. And obviously this is just a snippet, so we don't know. And also, it looks, for a show, it looks really good. But like Dune specifically has those movies, the Denis Villeneuve movies, have a very specific like look and vibe and scale. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. We'll definitely check it out for this show. We'll see how it lines up.
For sure.
Roxy's more pro Dune than I am, so we'll see how the show lines up with our Dune feelings.
Everything I had for when you said constipated robots to not just turn this entire show into me Dune explaining to you why that's not what it is. But
but I appreciate it. A couple other things that we have in this genre setting, these genre TV shows. In September, on the 29th, we're getting The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, the Book of Carol. It's subtitles and subtitles.
The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, the Book of Carol. I can't be bothered, and that's such a bad sign for this show.
Yeah.
Even though
it did well enough that it's getting another season.
2 more, I think. I think they signed on for 2 more seasons.
Oh
yes.
My God.
Not only this one, because then I was reporting on it. It's like this one. And then after this, they're like, we're going to France. I guess they're in Spain. They're going to France, or they're in France and they're going to Spain. So one season in one place, one season in another. And I was like, wait a second. I don't know anything about this. Why are they hopping around in Europe? Are we on a yacht? I don't know anything about this show, but what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Why are we Euro City hopping in Walking Dead? What? But Daryl's like one of my favorite characters. So I can't believe I'm not watching this. Maybe by the time that this season ends, I'll binge the first 2 and be ready for the third. Maybe.
Okay.
You guys tell me how it is. Please at home watch it for me so I don't have to.
Of the core spinoffs, and by core spinoffs I mean ones that include the characters from the original show, we've got Daryl Dixon. We've got the ones who lived with Andrew Lincoln and
Michonne.
Oh my God. Yeah, Michonne. And then Guerrera, yeah. And then Dead City with Negan and the other one. I'm getting some of them, all right. I think those are the 3 big spinoffs.
The number one that I would watch first would be
that was my question.
Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera, because
they were the leads, right?
Yeah, and also I don't know what they did with Andrew Lincoln. Like the last thing we saw, but I actually think that this was a prequel, right? Like, the last thing we saw was Andrew Lincoln get airlifted, and then it was like, now there's going to be a movie about that, but then we didn't get that movie.
We got the show.
I don't think the ones that lived is that instead of the movie, and is that him after he got lifted, and did she find him? I don't know. I can't believe I didn't watch that show. So I would watch that first, then I would watch Daryl Dixon, then I would watch probably Fear the Walking Dead, and then what's the last one?
Dead City was the one with Negan. Why that one so low?
Maybe Dead City before Fear the Walking Dead.
I heard Fear the Walking Dead's real bad. I heard it was
watched
real
the pilot.
bad.
I told you I watched the pilot. They killed my favorite character, and I said I'm not doing this again.
Yeah. I would watch. I didn't get past season 2 of Walking Dead, but if I were to watch a spinoff, Dead City seems the most interesting to me.
So did you never see Negan anything?
You know what? I didn't, but I like that actor, and I'm a sucker for this really bad guy trying to be good now. I'm a sucker for that story.
Yeah. I like that too.
Okay. All right. We're also getting in November 15th. Roxy was the one that tipped me off on this. We are getting Silo season 2. I did not see a trailer or anything, but get excited, gang.
But they've told us we are.
Yeah.
And I actually feel like Apple's been relatively decent at hitting their dates. So I believe that we're going to see Silo in November, especially because we're getting Severance in January. So
We're
I
gonna
don't-
feast. Oh, so good.
It is so weird that we're seeing Silo before Severance. That is so
yes,
bizarre.
yes.
I am still confused on that. We know that there's a lot of drama behind the scenes for Severance, that the
Which is a
showrunners were
bummer.
fighting and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sucks. And clearly that's what happened. But I'm excited for Silo. I love Silo. I don't think that this is gonna knock Shogun off for this year.
Oh, doubt it. But yeah,
But when people ask me, like, is there any chance that Shogun's gonna be knocked from your spot? Silo is the best chance that we have of knocking Shogun, even though I don't think it will.
yeah, totally. Shogun's one of those shows that it's like, if they do a season 2, which they're talking about doing, they're like, they've already signed up Hiroyuki Sanada. They're already looking at story possibilities.
They've confirmed season 2, season 3 of Shogun.
They have? Okay.
Season 2, season 3.
Excited for that. But I've been around the block long enough to know the odds of those 2 seasons being as good as the first one, they could still be great. It's going to be hard to beat that first season because it's like perfect.
They're like, so we don't have any source material for season 2 and 3. But
Yeah.
here's the deal. Maybe that's better. And I'm like,
It's like, no,
I'm stoked though, because I want to see season 2 and 3, and I do think there's enough to tell stories. But I don't know about that's better.
Yeah. And so similarly, like, so just when it comes up, what's going to top Shogun season 1? I don't know that anything could, man. And I don't need that from Silo. I'm not putting that on Silo.
Right. Although Silo does have the potential to be so unbelievably jaw-dropping because of the way Silo ended.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
I think that's another thing that when you talk about getting Silo before Severance is I don't think they even finished the first book in season 1. So they've still got source material to burn, and that probably they do need to figure stuff out. But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they don't need to
where are we going from here? And Silo was like, we know where we're going.
Exactly. We have the roadmap.
I think Silo season 2 is going to be excellent. The pressure is on for them because to me, this show, season 2, is going to tell us what Silo is. Was it a one-hit wonder, or is it going to be one of the great sci-fi shows?
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. The other big thing we're getting this year is, and like I said, when we're recording, we should be getting a trailer for this tonight. We don't have it now, but we're getting Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which, if you're watching the YouTube video, there's a still from the show, and the synopsis for that is 4 kids make a mysterious discovery on their home planet that leads them to get lost in a strange and dangerous galaxy. So everything I've been hearing and seeing about the show is positioning it as more of a kid-centric Star Wars show. Roxy, how mad do you think the fans are going to be mad about this?
I don't think they're going to be mad about this. I think they're going to be so happy. I think the Star Wars fans are very easy to please. No, I actually think that they're going to be pissed. However, I don't think they're going to be as mad about this as they were about a queer show with queer parents that really wasn't that queer, that they were like, this is the queerest thing I've ever seen. Help, my eyes.
Yeah.
I think that this show coming after that bodes well for the show, because that padded Star Wars fans to being like, look, like sometimes we do things more for the kids and sometimes we do it. So yeah, but I saw everything I've seen from Skeleton Crew has made me feel this exact same that I felt the whole time. I'll give it a shot. I have no idea if I'm going to like this show. I'll give it a shot.
And it's one of those things, like we talked about with The Acolyte, it doesn't necessarily need to be for us. I am all for something that is more targeted towards a younger audience, especially for Star Wars.
I didn't like the picture. The still that you just showed is one of my least favorite stills from the show, because little elephant boy looks so strange. I mean,
here's the thing: the hair is a choice. The elephant boy has hair. That's a choice.
Wait, go back one more time, DJ, one more time. Yeah, it's like, is it moss on top of his head? And I don't know. There's something about the eyes. So is this a prosthetic head, like a practical head that's got some CG when it moves, or what? How are we doing this? How big is this character? Why do we have this? And the hair. I love alien character. It's Star Wars, so fine. But just specifically that still, every time I see it, I'm like, it looks like Fraggle Rock meets Star Wars, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll say this. I feel like it wouldn't hurt Star Wars if this show is like, that Mighty Duck show we did, but Star Wars. I actually think that's would be a smart move to get in younger audience. That wouldn't be for me. You know what I mean? But that's okay, because I have Andor. I liked The Acolyte, even though technically it also wasn't for me. I feel like I have been wondering, and I don't know how you feel about this. I wonder if The Acolyte did more to promote itself as like, by the way, we are a YA Star Wars show. So if you're a 40-year-old man, maybe this Star Wars isn't for you.
Yeah, I think they're so scared to do this because the 40-year-old man is Star Wars core base.
Yeah.
So I think that they like didn't think, but it definitely backfired. Do you know that when people ask me, DJ, what is my favorite Disney Plus original series? Do you know that Game Changers is my answer?
I think you've mentioned that before, and I think that's
I
great.
love that show.
Yeah.
I love that show. I'm so sad it's gone. I stayed watching it. I loved Mighty Ducks Game Changers.
Yeah.
I think it's the best show that Disney Plus has put out.
I liked it. Did I finish the first season? I don't think I did. But again, it's one of those things. Oh, you're doing, meaning the show where it's at. It's like, oh, you're doing it. The thing you're doing good.
Exactly what its tone was. There was no. I just and I've liked some other things like you and I. She-Hulk. Like, there's been things that I've really liked, but I loved My Ducks Game Changer the whole time. I kept thinking like, when I have a little niece, little nephew, I can't wait to watch things like this with them. Like, it's so fun. Totally.
The last thing we got in our little genre block is a show Roxy and I are so excited for Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power Season 2. Here's a clip from the trailer.
Sauron sees himself as master of all Middle-earth. He seeks to rule it not only through conquest, but by bending the minds of all its peoples to his own. And for that, he needs not armies.
No!
But rings.
Roxy, you excited for Season 2?
Okay. Let me try to be kind and whatnot.
Yeah.
So everybody saw this trailer, and for everybody was like so excited. Like, wow, Season 2 is finally what we wanted from the show. We opened with Sauron. That's what people wanted to hear. That's what people want to see. My friends that love Lord of the Rings were like, this looks like the greatest thing ever. And people are stoked on this. I think that the trailer looked good. I think that like visually it looks great. I've come to realize that I don't remember Lord of the Rings at all. At all.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lore. People bring it up. I don't remember anything about Lord of the Rings. This is a me problem where this show feels like the deepest cut. And for maybe deep cut people, they're like, what? This is shallow. For me, I'm like, I don't understand what's happening here. I don't know when we are. I don't know where we are. I don't know who these characters are. When you guys scream because you hear a mention, I don't know who you're talking about. Yeah. So it's hard for me to follow. And you don't want to feel stupid when you're watching a show. And that is how I felt when I watched Season 1, Episode 1 of Rings of Power. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
I have no idea what's happening here.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a good entry place for somebody, and it was not. I was like, I literally have no idea what is happening. And that's how I feel when I watch the trailer. So I'm excited for the people who are excited. Yeah. I don't even know how to jump in. Like, do I have to watch all of Season 1 to get to this? Because I am unwilling to do that.
Yeah. I really love Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movies. I've read the book. I've read The Hobbit. Didn't watch the Hobbit movies. And I watched all of Season 1 of Rings of Power. This show seems deeply silly to me, especially when the trailer went like, he doesn't need armies. He needs rings. And you got a short version of the trailer. They say the word rings like 50 times in this trailer. Wait, and it's just really silly to me.
Rewind for a second because I'm such an idiot with this. In Lord of the Rings, did the ring look like a diamond, like engagement ring?
No,
like
it's in the opening. It doesn't really pertain to the movies, but in the opening monologue at the beginning of the first movie, they talk about how a bunch of other people, there's like, I can't remember the number. It's like 3 elves, 7 dwarves, and 9 humans, something like that. Yeah, because the 9 Nazgul. Anyway, the rulers of that age each got rings. And then Sauron's ring, the one gold ring, controlled all those rings. So he used the rings to control the leaders of the people. That's what we're flashing back to, is the story of getting those rings and Sauron gaining power and all that stuff. And I
All
get
the
it
rings
for
look different. Like
all the
sometimes
rings
they-
look different.
Okay.
Yeah. So all the rings look different, and I get it. In this clip, I think I didn't include the part. You see the Balrog in it. We see the eagles. They fight. I know Shelob's in this. I don't know if the Shelob in that. We get.
I don't know anything you're talking about right now.
Yeah, it's fine.
Just so you know, I've seen all of the movies and I saw all the Hobbit movies.
Yeah.
I've seen every movie and I don't remember this franchise. I just, it did not stick with me, even though I remember watching them. These are epic. Now,
Yeah.
when you just said Shirog and Elrock or whatever,
Yeah,
I don't know who you're talking about, if those are places, people, or things.
Yeah. It just feels like this trailer feels like the parody I would make of a fantasy show. And, there's something to be said for that earnestness of just doing the thing. But I didn't like season 1, gang. I think we will, Roxy. I do think I am going to make you watch the first episode of season 2.
Do you think I'm going to understand a single thing about it?
No, but you know what? I think it'll be funny for the show. So I do think we're going to cover it. I will watch the first episode or so of this season, but I didn't like season 1, so I don't feel terribly motivated to watch season 2, even though I would say I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. Now, we're going to move into comedy is what I have next. And we'll motor through this pretty quick because I don't think there's a lot to unpack, except we are getting the final season of What We Do in the Shadows. Excited for that. We are getting another season of Abbott Elementary. Rumor is they're going to be crossing over with another show, but I don't think we know what that show is yet. We're getting another season of Only Murders in the Building. We're also getting something that was not on my radar, Rick and Morty, the anime, which near as I can tell, I'm like, what is this? Near as I can tell, it's Rick and Morty, but as an anime. So I actually I have a trailer for that. It's some famous anime character. Actually, creator. I have the trailer for it.
Everything's twisting! Not again, that mother...
From visionary director Takashi Sano
It's Space Morty!
comes the all-new anime series,
Let's do it before you change your mind!
Rick and Morty, the anime.
Wait, what in the hell am I doing here?
So that just looks like Rick and Morty to me, but an anime. That said, I'm gonna watch it.
Cool. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
watch this show, but I know people love it, and that looked like Rick and Morty to me too.
Yeah, it's just a Rick and Morty show, but anime style. Hey, man, I'll check it out. Here's
fun.
the other one I wanted to bring up in the comedy segment, because I'm looking forward to this show. Have you heard about Bad Monkey, Roxy?
Yeah, I didn't a trailer drop for this a little bit ago.
Did you? I don't
Did it
know.
not? I don't know.
Did the trailer? Yes, the trailer. I actually have the trailer here.
Yeah. Okay. Then,
Let's watch it. Let's watch it real quick.
I'm suspended. I'm technically not even a detective anymore. They said I was consistently reckless, inappropriate, and glib. Why can't you just hide me on the desk in here or something? Wouldn't even be doing any real work. I'd just be checking the websites I like.
Yeah, this is the Bill Lawrence show that I'm excited for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw this trailer and I was like, totally 100% in. This is great. I love Vince Vaughn. I think
Same.
he is so funny.
Yeah.
It's like, I kind of make fun of people who are like, I'll see anything that this person is in. I'll watch anything Vince Vaughn is in. He really makes me laugh. So I'm
Same.
excited for this.
Yeah, I'm a Vince Vaughn fan. I'm a fan of like Sunny Florida Set Noirs, Bill Lawrence. I'm like, yeah, of course. Yes, of course I will watch this show. Yes.
Yeah, it's probably going to be so good. Did you see Freaky?
Yeah, Freaky's great.
I watched it for Real Rejects. I had never even heard of it.
Yeah.
I think Vince Vaughn is like a star. He is such a legend.
If anybody wants to see Vince Vaughn doing something very different than his normal thing, I highly recommend Brawl in Cell Block 99. It's like a pulpy throwback. It's so good.
Sam loved that too. I think you and Sam repped that heavy. I never saw it. Okay.
We saw it at Fantastic Fest. I think last time I watched it was on Hulu. It is great and it's different. It's a different mode for Vince Vaughn. He's not like the fast quippy, but like this, all the jokes in this trailer totally land for me. Fans of Bill Lawrence in the OSA house. And again, I like these noir type shows. So it's like, yeah, there was a show on Apple TV called The High Desert, which I feel like I was the only person that watched. But it was another one of these like quirky kind of noir, kind of crime related things. I love it, man. Give me more.
Who was in
That
High
one.
Desert?
Huh?
Who was in High Desert?
Who is God, why am I blinking? Arquette, Patricia Arquette.
Oh, yeah, Brad Garrett, Patricia Arquette. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, and Jay Roach directed it. What?
I heard mixed things about it. I really liked it. But I like these little scummy, low rent crime stories. So I'm kind of hoping with Vince Vaughn and Bill Lawrence behind this one, maybe I can get multiple seasons out of it. Maybe this could just be my yearly, here's a bunch of scumbags doing shit in Florida type show. You know what I mean?
But is this going to make shrinking take longer?
Probably, Roxy. Everything makes everything take longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we are getting, did I not put shrinking? Oh, is that a comedy? So that's a good segue to our drama section. Yeah, we're going to our dramas. Is Shrinking a comedy or is it a drama, Roxy? I didn't know where to put that one.
I think it's a comedy, but I understand that it's a comedy. If The Bear is a comedy, Shrinking's a comedy.
Okay, got it.
But
so it's not a comedy.
But I don't know. I think Shrinking gets nominated in comedy.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure. I love that show. I can't wait for season 2.
Shrinking is, by the way, I've been shirking my duties on dates. Bad Monkey's coming out August 14th. That's next week. Gosh, that's exciting.
Let's watch that.
Huh?
Let's watch it.
Let's do it. I think we should. I thought about doing an episode on it, but I feel like that is being too ambitious. I don't know that the numbers would warrant us doing a Bad Monkey episode, but who knows?
We could do a Vince Vaughn episode.
We could do a Vince Vaughn episode. So Shrinking is coming out October 16th. So you don't have to wait long for this, Roxy. We've also got in the drama section, we've also got August 15th. So next week as well, we got Bel Air, the next season of Bel Air.
I think that show is unbelievable.
Yeah, I like Bel Air a lot.
Oof, I love that show. And those actors, like, I think that we're looking at the next cast of Euphoria in terms of they're all going to just blow. Jabari, like, I mean, they're all getting big, but so good, so talented.
Yeah, totally. Another show I'm excited about coming to Amazon October 24th is Like a Dragon. This is based off of, it's a Yakuza drama based off a video game series. And I don't think we're getting another season of Tokyo Vice, which also followed the Yakuza. We're not getting another season of Warrior. So I'm putting a lot on this show that it's like, can you fill the void of no more Tokyo Vice and no more Warrior? And again, theme with I love my crime shows, man. So, and Prime is not only giving me Like a Dragon. I don't know when we're getting it, but at some point they're giving me an adaptation of Ed Brubaker's Criminal, which is one of my favorite crime comic books. So like Prime, you got me. Keep doing this. We're also getting in November 15th, we're getting the second part of Cobra Kai. What is it? Season 6? Is that what we're in?
Yeah, I think so.
And then in December, very end of the year.
3 parts.
Yeah. Very end of the year, we're getting Squid Game Season 2. So Roxy,
really smart release date for Squid Game coming out the 26th, which really puts it at Christmas. Mm-hmm. People are going to be home. This is an international hit. Yeah, I think Squid Game's numbers are going to be supersized for this.
So how are you feeling about? I noticed like when I was breaking down this list, like a lot of comedies, obviously a lot of genre TV. I didn't get into the superhero stuff yet. It's a little light on the TV dramas. It felt like to me. Maybe this is just because I'm focusing on the stuff that we might talk about on this show.
I think it's because you've separated genre from drama. Because like Silo drama, right?
Yeah.
That, I mean, some of these really aren't, but like Star Wars Skeleton Crew, I have no idea. Is that a drama? I don't know. But Silo is, to me, if you were like, what drama are you most excited for the rest of the year? I would say Silo, even though it totally is a sci-fi genre show.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, a little bit light, especially considering I wouldn't put Shrinking. I'd put that more comedy. Bel Air obviously is a drama, but stems from a comedy, so does have a lot of levity. Cobra Kai at this point, I guess
who knows?
we can call it a drama, but it is like an out of this world action, whatever. I'm not going to watch Like a Dragon. And Squid Game is a international or a foreign language drama, so it's like a little different too. So I'm with you. It's interesting. okay, the main dramas I put is what your next
Yeah.
category title is, DJ.
My category is dad TV shows that your dad would watch. And
What are you trying to say about me that these are my favorite shows that I watch all of them?
I don't listen. I'm watching them too. The first one I got is in September 12th. We got The Old Man season 2. I loved The Old Man.
So how did we do this? How did we end up doing this?
Doing the dad TV?
No, The Old Man. Remember when The Old Man ended, we were like, we might be able to get a next season. We don't know. They had a couple of episodes cut. Then we had heard about sicknesses. So when did they shoot this? How did they do this?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know any of the specifics. I think I thought the plan was always 2 seasons. So I don't know. I didn't see anything that confirmed that. So I didn't put this as the last season. But just give me Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow being angry old spy men, man. But again, it's like older dude centric, coming out of the retirement home to kick some ass, those type of shows. And in that vein, just a few days after The Old Man, we've got Tulsa King season 2. Both you and I watched Tulsa King and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And here's the one that you'll be able to inform me more on is I didn't realize that. I knew that there was drama around the final season of Yellowstone. Mm-hmm. And I knew they split it into 2 parts that were supposed to come out the same year and they didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the first part of the final season of Yellowstone came out in 2022.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, but we have had all of those spin-offs to like 19, 18, whatever. So yeah, this is going to be really weird this season. I love Yellowstone. I didn't find Yellowstone until a year or 2 ago, and then I binged all of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap, this is so weird that the Emmys doesn't nominate the show. It's like a great show.
Yeah.
It is so good. It is Succession, but make it cowboy.
Yeah.
And not only is it a great show, but it's a great show led by Kevin Costner.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the number one best performance on television year after year. Like if you say, gun to my head, who is the best, who deserves to win best performer, not for either category, it's Kelly Riley as Beth Dutton. Her performance is mind-blowingly good. She is a mega star. She steals every show. Like it's the best performance on TV of the last decade. She's so good. So it is weird that this constantly is getting laughed out. But now that Kevin Costner isn't coming back to the show, and there was so much in the news and so much drama about payments and treatment, and some people took his defense. Some people were attacking him. I'm like, what is this show now? What are we doing here? I'm nervous about it.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that the show came out in 2022. The show came out season 4 came out in 2021.
Yeah.
In December, and then had its last episode aired January 2nd, 2022. So the finale was just January 2nd, but the show was 2021.
Yeah.
It is so long ago.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if I remember where we're at or what's happening. So yeah. Oh no, then they did the second part in end of 2022. You're right. They did do a second part end of 22. Yeah.
So, but it's even then, that's still like 2 years since the first part of the final season.
Yes.
Not even between seasons, between parts of a season. And I know that a lot of that had to do with Kevin Costner shooting his big epic Western that's not doing well in theaters.
That he already did the second half of.
He did.
And then they pushed it. I don't know.
Yeah. So we'll see. And I know there's talk of, I don't know if you have any updates on this, Roxy, doing a more direct spinoff of this with, why did I just blank on his name? Matthew McConaughey. So we'll listen, gang. We'll see. But, Tulsa King is in that same house, same creative, same mind from the same guy. So we got our Tulsa King in there. Sly Stallone still out there, being a kick-ass grandpa. So to wrap this up, of course, we made our bag on superhero stuff. That's how we made our name on superhero stuff, I should say. So superhero shows this year, September 8th, we've got The Penguin. September 18th, we've got Agatha All Along. You guys might have to wait to hear us cover those shows because that is the month my baby is due. And so we're not, spoilers, everybody, we're not doing that show in September. There will be still stuff dropping that we pre-record, but I ain't recording shit in September. October 7th, we got the final season of Superman and Lois. And then in November, we've got Harley Quinn, the 5th season, which did I finish season 3? I don't remember. And then in December, we've got Creature Commandos. So we got plenty of superhero stuff on the pipeline. Roxy, that's a little bit of a unique lineup of superhero shows than what we've seen in the past. How do you feel about it?
Well, by far and away, the one I'm most excited about is the Penguin. I can't wait for the Penguin. What's unfortunate is that I love Harley Quinn and I really liked Superman and Lois, but I fell off of them, which is
same.
wild because I loved Harley Quinn, but I did not watch the 4th season. And I really liked Superman and Lois season 1 and 2, and then I did not watch the 3rd season.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I did that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you be doing things and you're like, there was no reason, I just did it. And I'm not excited for Agatha all along, except for the fact that that trailer dropped and it did kind of get me like curious.
Yeah.
I never thought the show should be made. Then I know some people who worked on the show and they're like, actually, it's kind of dank, but they work on the show. So it's like, I don't know. And then the trailer dropped and I was like, what? What is this show?
I kind of respect that. Warner Brothers is like, no, we're going to cut this surefire. We're just going to yank this movie or show from existence. You're never even going to sing it. We're going to see it. We're going to burn all the files. But Disney's like, no, we filmed Agatha all along. All right. Agatha all along is coming the fuck out. Okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I'm going to watch it for sure. And then we just saw that Creature Commandos trailer that you and I both liked. So, but the Penguin for sure is number 1 on my list of these. And it is a little weird of a rundown because other than, I guess, Superman and Lois, we're really doing a lot of spin-off characters.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That is correct. That is correct. So it'll be interesting. I think there's a lot to be excited of coming into the rest of this year, the back half of this year. In the Discord, Mike Joyce, the shows Mike Joyce is looking forward to are Silo, Shrinking, The Penguin, The Diplomat, Superman, and Lois. Leonard Kim said Rings of Power, Agatha All Along, Shrinking, Only Murders in the Building, Skeleton Crew, Silo, Slow Horses, The Librarians, The Next Chapter, Emily in Paris, and The Diplomat. I think for me, the big standouts, I'm looking forward to Penguin. I'm looking forward to Bad Monkey a lot. And then, our staples like Abbott Elementary, Only Murders in the Building, Silo, definitely. Those are some of the highlights.
I also loved The Diplomat, so I'm excited for this. I have binged Slow Horses. I told you season 1, season 2 were lackluster. Now I've been season 3. Season 3 was effing awesome.
Cool.
So now I don't know why I feel like 1 and 2 were so slow and season 3 really took off for me, but I am excited about more Slow Horses. Very
cool. Very cool. A lot to look forward to. I'm going to get my Apple subscription back for Bad Monkey and then Silo and then Severance going in the next year. So maybe I can catch up on some of the stuff Roxy's been recommending to me. And For All Mankind. It's good. I just didn't, finish catching up on it. I know everybody that loves that show, you got to watch it. It's good. I see it. But, time is a thing. And I'm going to have less of it moving forward. Anyway, Roxy, where can the kids check out what you're working on?
Everywhere at Roxy Stryer.
You can find me at DJ Talks Trash. If you feel like it, go check out my personal channel for interviews with people like Sal and Trisha and more to come. Thank you to everybody that supported my comic, hellbentcomicbook.com. The pre-order store through BackerKit should be up soon if you missed the campaign. You can follow this show everywhere that matters at Only Stupid Answers, but on Twitter/X.
You can get the fellas from stupid.
And we will see you all next time.